you can start. You have 27 people in your room, which I think it's good. So I wish you a good session, and please go ahead.
Thank you, Ariane.
Thank you.
Shall I start?
Yes, please go ahead.
Yes, okay, no problem. So, good morning and good afternoon, dear colleagues from the IURC global community. My name is Wang Qian. I'm the team leader of the IURC China. So first, on behalf of the project teams of IURC China and IURC Asia, Australia, as well as IURC CCS team, I'm very honored to welcome you to our breakout room session on the topic of urban renewal and regional competitiveness. I will make it very brief, so we have more time left for the speakers. So actually, the reason why IURC China is leading this thematic topic today is not only because that our pilot cities already showed a lot of interest, and they have been discussed for a long time in this area. For example, the ongoing discussion between Ljubljana from China and Barcelona from Spain since the IUC Asia phase. But also we think that urban renewal, seen as an economic engine reform mechanism, we hope that can also be one of the practical tools for the socio-economic recovery in the post-epidemic era. As for the topic of regional innovation and competitiveness, we are very happy that in IURC China, for the first time, we will have 10 European pilot regions and 10 Chinese pilot regions to the project, where we will try our best to promote the exchange and communication and cooperation among the community. So today we are very, very delighted to have 5 speakers from European Asian pilot cities and regions who will bring their best practices to this panel discussion. And we will also have open discussions with all the participants and the audience, where we are eager to learn your expectations on the project and your cooperation initiative under the IURC program framework. So hope you find the next 15 minutes helpful and inspiring. I leave the floor to my colleague Karu, the key expert of IURC China and also the expert on urbanization and the sustainable development. Thank you. Karu, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Tian. So good morning, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to you all. I'm Karu Feng. I'm part of the IURC China team. It's my great pleasure to moderate this session for you. The urban renewal and regional competitiveness. It's a very timely discussion in our time during pandemic time and right after COP26. I'm taking very short time to give you a setup of how we are going to engage with you. First, please make sure you, at the beginning, to mute your microphone, and we invite you to fully use the chat room to say hi, where you're from, ask questions throughout the session. And second, our second half of the session is Q&A. Please feel free to use the Q&A session to engage in the discussion. You can either type in chat room or raise a question by virtual hand. The virtual hand you will find at the icon below with the reactions. Here you can put your hands up, and then we will notice you and then bring you up to the question. So those are the rules of engagement, if you like. So let's move on to our panel discussion. We have nowadays, in these days, more and more cities and regions are adopting wider objectives in their urban agenda, including the urban resilience, inclusiveness, and innovation transition to achieve a transformative change for climate, for people, and for green economy. So we are very pleased and honored to have Juan Carlos. He is Technical Director for City Projects of Fuenlabrada of Spain. He will talk about his engagement in the city's urban regeneration plan. So, Juan Carlos, please, great to hear from you.
Thanks a lot, Keru. Thanks a lot, Qian, and thanks a lot all the staff at URC for considering us as interesting ideas to present to this such an interesting sessions. So let me share the screen. It must be ready. Yes. Can you see it? Yeah.
Yes.
Well, according to what you ask us, we are right now implementing a new urban agenda plan for developing the city. Fuenlabrada is a medium-sized city at the European standards. We are situated in the South Metropolitan area of Madrid. We are an industrial city close to Madrid. We are somehow a very new city. We passed from a small village in the 70s from 7,000 citizens to right now reality is a city of 200,000 citizens. So our city is more or less finished in terms of services, in terms of growth. And what we are developing now is a change of the paradigms, a change in the way we plan, and we are designing somehow a new city inside the city. So our strategic right now is a broad strategic base on all the urban agenda developed by all the international institutes as well as our national institute. And we develop our own urban agenda, which is being considered at that Spanish level at a pilot project in which all the cities will somehow will look at us and the way we are planning the new urban agenda and the new urban development. So the good thing about the agenda is that it gives us a new strategic approach, much more broader than just the urban aspect, and which had a lot to see with all the services involved in a city, from the urban point of view, but also from the social point of view, the economic point of view, the inclusion point of view, which is something we are quite interested in, but also, and nowadays for the learning experiences from the COVID situation, also to become a resilient city, which is one of the main objectives right now, become a city to develop ourselves and to be resilient for the citizens. So based on all the agenda defined by the city, we obviously develop basic line of intervention, which you can show there, but going fast and try to be reduced to 5 minutes of my presentation. We are going to show you how do we finally work from this strategic point of view in just an example of what we are doing right now. So we have a concrete project of urban regeneration, which is the central district. As I said, that is a central district that suffered big population decrease and loss of activity, that instead of looking now as a problem, for us is a challenge to promote the center as a priority area for regeneration. And as it said, in every city, normally the central of the city is a point of reference for the whole city, an engine to develop the city, an engine to promote the city. So we work as with an urban regeneration laboratory process, which is based on the urban agenda. And we try to make a big process of participation, a big process of transparency in which all the population participate in the design of what we wanted to be the new urban center, which is some of the actions you may see there in the map. So 4 axes for this urban regeneration project, as it's been defined by the urban development of the city. The city center had to be a point of reference, a point where we had to improve the urban quality of the urbanization, accessibility, image, and obviously to become a beautiful center. We had to put on a focus on the differential activity of this new area to implement a singular municipal equipment, a differential activities to make it more attractive. But it's important also to promote the sense of belonging, which is the citizen must feel proud of the city they are living, even though we don't have big cultural heritage. But we had to promote an image of the city in which they feel proud to live in, to becoming more attractive and to make the people get love of where the place where they're living. And also we had to try to make increase the housing density of the area, because as I said, we decreased the number of people living there, and we had to promote the area in order to increase the number of inhabitants, and especially the young people, that they will hold the town. Obviously, the new urban development had to be efficient in terms of the environmental and in terms of the use of the resources. So we had to naturalize the district, even though it's a center area in which there are not many places for nature areas. We had to use green solutions to promote the new buildings. We had to promote the creation of green spaces and itineraries, as is said there. But also we had to implement new sustainable mobility models in order to promote the pedestrian mobility and to try to put out the traffic jam from those areas. We had to improve the energy efficiency in the building, which is something even becoming more and more important right now, the use of energy, and trying to look for zero consumption of zero emissions on massive cases. We had to re-urbanize it with an environmental criteria, which is something very important, not only from the economic or social point of view, but we had to introduce criteria of environmental issues in these designs. And obviously the waste reduction and improve the management of the waste use. So reuse, recycle, reduce, and promote the circular economy. Obviously, we cannot do that to make it sustainable without the economic aspect. So we had to do it. We had to promote the economic development in the new areas, on the new promotions. So we had to try to make it attractive for the economic activity. So according to the Spanish standard, which is quite devoted in the services economic sector, we had to promote that. But we had to also to promote new models of productive sector, to make it more innovative and more resilient and more productive and also more dynamic. So we had to search for differential services for these areas, but also trying to make it like new personal challenges labs, offer experiences both for workers, also for entrepreneurs and for companies too. And last but not least, I'm trying to focus on the 5 minutes that I have, we had to make spaces for living. So we had to make spaces for dynamic and diverse and for social spaces to promote the interactivity between citizens. So we had to improve the equipment of the public services put in there in order to make spaces to live, but in order to make spaces where they have all the services available. We had to open to public spaces to find spaces in which people can interact with each other, and we had to be fully determined to open to citizen participation from the design point of view, the implemented aspect, also to the evaluation, but among all, in order to understand the people that the city they live in is the city that they sharing, and the city that they're going to promote, the city that they will help them to be resilient and to be to develop themselves. So more or less, this is the overall view in which we design all the activities, all the services that we have developed for the city center in which we are right now. I'll be pleased to open more information and to share with you more information. You can be interested, even the more simple activities we develop, whatever issue you may be interested in. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much, Juan Carlos, for your addressing on the topic of complexity of your grand urban renewal planning projects. we'll leave more questions at the later Q&A session. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Can you please stop sharing so I can begin sharing my screen?
I didn't. I think I finished. No?
You are still sharing your screen, Juan Carlos.
Oh, sorry.
Thank you.
Stop using. I said stop using.
It should be stop sharing or something like that.
Yeah, I did it. Right now, sorry.
Thank you.
No worries.
So after hear about our European contribution to the new urban agenda, it is time to hear about the Asian perspective. We are very privileged to have Mr. Cui Jun. He is the member of the Standing Committee of Liuzhou Municipal Committee of the CPC and the Executive Vice Mayor of Liuzhou. So Mayor Cui, it's great to have you here. Now over to you. Thank you.
Sorry, it's just me, or I cannot hear anything.
No, no one can hear it. Can.
No.
I think there is an
Okay.
issue. Yeah, I think there is an issue with Mr. Q.
崔市长，不好意思，您的那个话筒没有。
Mayor Cui, we cannot hear you. Mayor Mr. Cui, we cannot hear you.
您的话筒没有声音。
There is no voice from your mic.
没有，还是听不见。
We cannot hear you.
So
we move on to the third speaker, and when China is ready, we can switch back to him. Okay, thank you.
We have some technical issue from Liuzhou. Maybe we can first move to the next speaker.
So Tina, are you ready? Can you give it a go?
Yes, sure.
Thank you so much.
Can you share my presentation,
Sure.
Carol?
Yes.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the floor. I will welcome you to Ljubljana urban region with this presentation. Just shortly saying some facts about the region. Our region is a central region of Slovenia with the capital of Ljubljana. It consists of 25 municipalities with a total population of almost 600,000 inhabitants and covers 2,300 square kilometers. Key state scientific research and educational as well as cultural institutions are concentrated in our region. It generates more than 1/3 of Slovenia's GDP and also stands out for a large concentration of students and most established university of Slovenia. Expenditures, for example, for research and development in our region accounted for almost 52% of all Slovenian expenditures in 2020. I would say that we are unique among European metropolitan regions due to the proximity of quality areas of nature and intervening of the built and natural environment. At the moment, our agency is in the preparation process of the regional innovation strategy of the Ljubljana urban region 2030. Slovenian regions are not governmental regions, so this would be the first innovation strategy at the regional level. The document represents the basis for smart specialization in the region. It contains very comprehensive economic renewal program that focuses on local communities and provides targeted policy support for investment in key regional knowledge-based projects. I would say, in short, it is about ensuring greater visibility of the region to external investors with this document. We would like very much focus more on digital and circular transformation and technologies, addressing smart mobility system, smart cities and communities, smart buildings, networks for transition to circular economy, sustainable food systems, smart education, jobs and skills, and tourism diversification. We know that there are major differences between national innovation systems in terms of structure, different roles of organization. For example, the university plays an important role in influencing the innovation of our region. For us, it is not enough just to consider the elements of innovation, but it's necessary to enable their interconnections, which of course are not linear. Our emphasis is, of course, not focused on the presence of individual elements, but rather than networks where institutions play a very important role. And we also focus on wide group of different stakeholders, not just companies and policymakers and different research institutions and creative institutions, but also what is important for us is civil society, to include them as a fourth important stakeholder. Next slide, Carol, please. Thank you. I would just like to share a few examples what we are doing in the region at the moment. Our goals are to focus on creating the tools for economic, social, especially environmental benefits based on the strategy for green infrastructure that was prepared at the regional level. We have also become a renewed partner in the field of sustainable mobility, focusing on strategic approach for over 2 decades, based on the Sustainable Urban Mobility Plan for Ljubljana urban region, providing, of course, innovative systemic solutions such as park and ride system, electronic system of different modes of sustainable transportation, investing in the cycle route network in the region. Currently, we are working on developing the e-bike system to connect the city to all our municipalities. Another important topic is the transition towards circular economy, and in this context also the emphasis on industrial symbiosis. We have developed a unique regional program in collaboration with UK experts where we support regional SMEs in exchange of resources, as well as raise the level of knowledge in the support environment. I would also like to emphasize our work on local regional food system. We are bound to strengthen the resilience through better local food chain. We have established the so-called stock exchange events of local food and developed a program which raised the share of local food in public educational institutions, kindergartens and primary schools for almost 20%. Another important topic is entrepreneurship. We have developed a very unique program for young entrepreneurs that was also recognized by at the European level as a very important initiative for young entrepreneurs. So maybe I would stop here and leave more floor later for the questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much thank you so much, Tina. Sorry, we missed the introduction. Tina Pestiak Nokrashik. She is the head of Regional Creative Economy Center of Ljubljana Urban Region. Thank you so much for your introduction on the topic of place-based ecosystem of innovation in Ljubljana Urban Region.
Thank you.
Thank you. So now we try again to connect with the city of Liuzhou.
可以听到了吗？
Okay, can you hear us?
现在可以了，
可以的。
现在可以了。
Yeah, okay, no problem. We can hear. Great.
各位来自欧洲、亚洲
Distinguished guests from Europe and from Asia, and also representative from IURC cities, ladies and gentlemen, I'm very pleased to discuss with you about the urban renewal and the regional competitiveness. As you know, Liuzhou locates in the southwest of China. It has more than 2100 years history, and it is also a very famous city historically and culturally, and it's a very excellent city for tourism. For many years, Liuzhou city seek to the people-centered development concept and focusing in the upgrading of the city, and we step on a road which is really suitable for Liuzhou city, and also with the UN-led Forum for the Regional Cooperation. Liuzhou is a very famous case for the transformation from an industrial city to an environmentally friendly city, and we are included in the major theme report of that forum. So we focus first on the old city renovation. We have the renovation of old districts, and for those restructured, dilapidated housing, we give them support for the renovation. We also have the old neighborhood renovation, and as well as the urban village retrofitting and transformation. So we actually benefit not only the enterprises, but also the government in terms of the environmental protection, as well as the improvements of livelihood. So we are three-party all-win during this process, and it has great results. At the same time, we provide support for the old neighborhood renovation and combine that with the local community governance. So we have targeted measures, and we lead people to participate in such renovation program and making them the main character of such renovation process. So you see, they are highly motivated. We also build a 50-minute life cycle, and based on the daily needs for the clothing, for the food, and for traveling, we bring a lot of convenience for their life. And we make use of those idling buildings. We build the community center. We try to construct a complete public service system to cater the needs of the common people in Liuzhou city to make their life easier and more enjoyable. And also, we pay high attention to the protection of the cultural relics as well as those monuments. You know, Liuzhou has a very long history. We have the Liu Hou Hall, and we also have the tower in Liuzhou. They are very famous, the historical monuments. For many years, we have campaigns to protect the historical buildings and communities. We try to improve our connotation as a historical famous city. Ladies and gentlemen, Liuzhou is a beautiful city. We are looking forward to work with you for cooperation at various levels and in different fields. And here, on behalf of Liuzhou people, I warmly welcome you to visit Liuzhou, and we can discuss how we can make a city more beautiful and resilient. I'm sure Liuzhou will impress you mostly. And also with this opportunity, I also love to answer your question, and I will give you the answer if you have any question. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
非常感谢。
Thank you so much, Mayor Cui, for your sharing your vision and strategy of urban renewal and ecological transition in Liuzhou. So, from your perspective, we are curious about. You just mentioned the key measures implemented in Liuzhou to achieve your goal of transition from a heavy industrial city to an environment-friendly city. What are the key measures implemented? Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah, there are 4 areas I'd like to touch upon. First is our government pay high attention in terms of our planning, project preparation, the attraction of the foreign investment, and providing service. We all integrated the environmental protection. So the number 1 principle is that we have an overall picture and master plan there, and the government also support strongly. And also we thank for the natural endowment of Liuzhou city, and we actually locate along this Ljubljana river, and so you see the natural scenery is very beautiful with mountains surrounding, with this beautiful river coming through, and so we have the really the great name for a international natural bounty, and we have great mountain, great rock and river. So it seems that we have all the natural elements making Liuzhou a very beautiful and attractive city. And also Liuzhou with ranking number 1 for the water-based sports, and the water brings, or the river brings, a lot of the recreational leisure for the Liuzhou people. Every year we have organized the motorboat championship, and in Liuzhou city, this is a top international event, and not only benefiting those great beautiful nature, we also have great history. You know, we have those top cavemen as well as the Bailian Yong cavemen. Those are the ancient people in the world. So that is 50,000 years ago historical monuments, and also with this kind of the historical monuments, and Liuzhou is really famous for these historical monuments, and also all these making Liuzhou not only a place to live, to work, and also to enjoy. And Liuzhou city is also a great city for the for traveling. In particular, I'd like to mention in Liuzhou city, we have 280,000 Bohemia. That is a special tree, and also with the beautiful flowers. Every year in late March and early April, Bohemias blossoms in the city, and the tourists from home and abroad flocks in. Bohemia city has become Liuzhou's beautiful business card already. Yeah, so much about my introduction about the measures we take. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mayor Cui. We would like to hear more from you in a later Q&A session. Thank you so much for your introduction. I now get. So we now are honored to have Mr. Tong Chien Sam. He is the chairman of Dalat City People's Committee from Vietnam. So Mr. Tong Chien Sam, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Hello, good evening, everybody. My name is Tôn Thiện San. I'm the chairman of Dalat City's People Committee from Vietnam. And it is my great pleasure to join this conference today. So first of all, Dalat City of Vietnam is a tourist city in Vietnam. And Dalat City locates in the elevations of 1,500 meters over the seawater. And we have the history more than 200 years and founded by Dr. Yat Sang. And Dalat takes some similarities with the European countries, and Dalat is considered the Paris of Vietnam. Yeah, it's a very famous city in Vietnam, and every year we welcome lots of tourists arrival. And before COVID, we welcome more than 6 million tourist arrivals, and the population of Dalat is more than 200,000 people. So the tourists in Dalat, like 30 times higher than the population of Dalat, and Dalat enjoy the cool weather. And so in recent year, the urbanizations in Dalat is very fast and create a lot of pressure on the infrastructure, in especially the increasing population and increasing tourists, creating a lot of pressure on the urban infrastructures and the urban environments. And the third thing, we have to think of some solutions to address these challenges. And so we redo some of the planning of the city to meet the demands of tourists, the increasing demands of tourists. So we established the new residential areas to reserve the historical architecture of Dalat, as you can see in the picture. And also we expand our road network, transport infrastructure, for example, the parking lot and the public services to serve the tourists and our population, our locals. And regarding the environments, we plant a lot of trees and flowers. And Dalat is the festival, the flower festival city of Vietnam, to welcome. So the people in Dalat grow flowers everywhere, plant flowers everywhere. So we have flower plantations everywhere in Dalat. And the agricultural products in Dalat are also very famous to supply the veggies to the southern of Vietnam. So with the rapid urbanizations, we have to face many challenges from urban managements, especially the managements of the historical monuments, because we plan to be the heritage city in the future. So from these workshops like this, we would like to study the experience and the lessons from the peer cities and the other cities in the world in the management of the historical monuments of Dalat, and increase the cooperations in tourism and agriculture too. Many thanks, and see you in the Q&A session.
Thank you so much, Mr. Tong Chien Sam. From your presentation, we realized the urban practitioners and governors around the world, they are facing similar challenges. Although the urbanization models might be totally different, but it's always good to learn from other models. We will have more questions and discussions later in the Q&A session. Thank you so much. So it's our great pleasure to have Mr. Nguyen Xuân Do. I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. It's great to have you here. Mr. Nguyen Xuân Do is the Vice Chairman of Ha Tinh City People's Committee. He will give us introduction of their urban transition planning. So the floor is yours, Mr. Nguyen Xuan Do. Thank you. Thank you. Great.
Vâng. Xin kính chào tất cả quý vị.
Hello, hello everyone, and greetings from Vietnam and from Hà Tĩnh City. And my name is Nguyễn Duy Đức, and I'm the Vice Chair of Hà Tĩnh City's People's Committee. It's my great pleasure to join the conference today with you guys. And coming up is my short presentation on the urban renewal and regional linkages. First of all, I would like to give an introduction, the brief introductions of Hà Tĩnh City. Well, Hà Tĩnh City is the capital city of Hà Tĩnh province, and we locate in the north, or the central north of Vietnam. And also we are the capital city of Hà Tĩnh province, as I said. And Hà Tĩnh City currently is working on the plan towards a smart city and modernized cities, and this is a very important political missions of the city management right now. However, if we want to maintain the capital position of our city in Hà Tĩnh province, and with the orientations to the smart city initiative, we are facing lots of challenges. First one is the size of urbanizations, where we have small populations and small size compared to the adjacent cities. Well, the Hà Tĩnh cities has 56 kilometers square, and the population is about 108,000 people. And also the economics of Hà Tĩnh city is mostly based on the investment and the commercial activities of the inner cities. And we need buffer zones to develop industrial zones or the industrial park, and Hà Tĩnh city is on its way to develop. So we were recognized to be the class 2 city in 2019, and we have inconsistent and incoherent infrastructure. And that is why we need to focus more to get closer to the level of development of the adjacent cities. And that is why Hà Tĩnh developed a project, the urban planning for Hà Tĩnh city, and we want to be the center city of the north central of Vietnam. And in order to do this, Hà Tĩnh city have the plan for urban renewal in 3 aspects. First one, we will try to complete our urban structure. And in order to do this, we launch 4 missions. We extend the city space to accommodate the areas of 2 to 3,000 square kilometers, 4 times larger than current. And also we implement the strategic transportation facilities. We maximize the riverside landscape. In Hà Tĩnh, we are surrounded by 3 rivers. So Hà Tĩnh city is working very hard to leverage the benefits from the 3 rivers, and also we will save some land for agriculture. And the second aspect, the city is working on climate change adaptation measures and landscape regeneration. And for this, we have 3 missions: special planning for low carbon, smart and sustainable development. And the city's people committees of Hà Tĩnh agree to make some adjustments of Hà Tĩnh city to work towards the sea, to develop towards the sea. the coast and for sustainable development. And we will increase the public spaces, including parks, stadiums, amusement parks, and we will invest in modern and unique facilities and landmarks. Thirdly, we are in the campaign to naturalize the cities by bringing more greeneries to the cities. So we have the plans to plant 30,000 new trees annually. And also we have a better planning on our sewer systems for flood control and mitigation. So Hà Tĩnh city is a coastal city, as you know. And because we have incoherent infrastructure, so we usually suffer from flooding. And this is the aspect that we need to improve to control and mitigate inundation. And in the regeneration of the Hà Tĩnh city, we are trying to renew the residential areas, working towards smarter and more modern urban areas. We invest in upgrading and regenerations of public facilities and infrastructures, and develop a mechanism to collect feedback from the citizens for the development of the city and enhance the capacity of the water treatment plant of the cities and reduce the environmental pollution. And to increase the competitiveness of Hà Tĩnh city, we are delivering several tasks. First one, we improve the business environment and facilitate the business capacities and increase the awareness of the citizens. When in business environment improvement, Hà Tĩnh city is in our administrative reform to streamline all of the paperwork to attract more investors and improve the legal foundation to attract investors and enhance the dialogue between the state and the private sector to solve their problem in a timely manner. And regarding environmental protection, Hà Tĩnh is planting trees and bringing the greeneries back to the public space, to our retention lake, our arterial roads, and to form city forests. And we enhance the capacity to collect wastewater and solid waste and have a better control on polluting manufacturers and shifting the fossil fuels, engines and facilities to renewable energy, and enhance people's income and diversify people's livelihood and care delivering clean agricultural practice and training and building capacity for city management staffs and enhance the awareness of business and citizens in high-level agricultural productions, targeting a new exporting markets. And our plan for the future, we plan to focus our energy in the capacity building through workshop like this, through conference like this. So from this conference, we have the opportunity to get the initiatives and the ideas from many cities in Asia and in Europe. And from the discussions, we learn a lot and to be incorporated into our city planning. And also we enhance and promote the trade cooperation. Like we will facilitate bilateral trade and support the business to recover in post-COVID time. And the third plan is that we will share our lesson learned in urban development, spatial planning, green and adaptive city development. And we hope to increase the multilateral and bilateral cooperations and partnership with partner cities around the world. And we would like to invite the experts and specialists from the Europe to help Hà Tĩnh in our city planning. And the fourth one is the local economic development for higher living quality of our citizens. So we hope to step up our cooperation with global partners in R&D to enhance the productivity in agricultural productions and people's living standards. So this is a brief presentations and also the plans of Hà Tĩnh city in urban renewal and strengthening the urban competitiveness. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your introduction of the social and economic transition of the Hà Tĩnh city. Now we enter the Q&A session. Do we have, I see there are quite some questions here. We have a short question for Tina. Tina, thank you for your presentation of the efforts of Ljubljana urban region to invest in robust regional innovation ecosystem. Often the repeated narrative in these days are yes to innovation, but no to change. So what are the challenges faced in Ljubljana urban region to achieve the goal of establishing the place-based innovation system, and what potential you are bringing for IURC program that might be beneficial to your program? Thank you.
Thank you, Carol, for this question. Ljubljana urban region, as I said, is central region that on one hand produces 1/3 of GDP, but on the other hand, we are witnessing development disparities among different municipalities in the region. Of course, the pandemic and associated preventative measures caused severe societal and economic restrictions, as well as enormous surge in digitalization. The required reduction in face-to-face contact tremendously increased use of digital media and in the economy and society. And before mentioned disparities became even more visible due to the initial stage of digitalization of local economies. So we believe that digital transformation could support local government efforts to build sustainable and resilient communities with a strong innovation dimension through inclusive data collection, facilitating exciting behaviors and transactions with new digital tools. We understand the smart city concept as a framework composed of ICT, sustainable development practitioners, which address growing urbanization challenges. The emphasis of our activities is on the citizens' engagement. Furthermore, our goal would be to support communities to be able to improve the energy distribution, the decreased traffic congestion, and air quality. And I think all this presents the possibility for the cooperation initiatives in the framework of EURC with China.
Thank you so much, Tina. And we also have a question for the city of Fuenlabrada. So thank you for your addressing for the complexity of the urban renewal project. It brings up a number of dilemma situation of urban renewals, especially coordinating the diverse stakeholder interests. So what would you address this situation in your urban renewal program for Nevada. So Juan Carlos.
Yeah, we have a lot of tradition in citizen participation. We're a quite participative city, and we try to empower associations as main stakeholders in the city. So since 2015, we developed a huge plan of participation and to open spaces for citizens to help us to define the new city we are working on. So in 2015, we start with a diagnosis of socioeconomic study of the city, planning to trying to define what are the needs, will be the needs in the present, but also in the future, in the way we want to develop ourselves and develop the city. And 2 years ago, we opened spaces of cooperation and participation with the stakeholders, doing interviews, group of discussion, and we make an ambitious plan, what we call Planea Fuenlabrada, which is Plan Fuenlabrada, in which we try to recollect all the needs and all the definitions and all the requirements directly from our citizens. Or for that, we create different tables of discussions, what we call the social consortiums, in which not only individual citizens, but more important, individual associations, civil association of the city, actively play an important role in the definition, not only of the design of the city, but also the services we want to develop. So it's crucial on this stage that the participation got an important role, and we had to materialize that not only in terms of consultation, but also in the way of participate with us in the definition, but also in the implementation, and of course in the evaluation of the project. So we had to take that into a very deep goal and focus on a very important role on definition of the program. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Juan Carlos. We have still have quite some questions. We have a quick question for the Harting city. So as you presented, as you mentioned, Harting city, it's a coastal city. So how does the climate change might impact the important economic sectors in Harting city? Mr. Nonson Do, would you like to address that? Thank you.
Vâng. Kính thưa tất cả quý vị. Thành phố Hà Tĩnh về
Well, ladies and gentlemen, Hà Tĩnh City, as I said, is a coastal city in the north central of Vietnam. And we are under the impact, the serious impact of the climate change, and climate change have serious impact on the social economics and the daily lives of the citizens of Hà Tĩnh, especially the economic impact. And so first of all, we can see, because we are the coastal city, so we are under the impact of sea level rising. Then the sea level rising will have negative impacts on agriculture production. Like it will affect the soil, the water, and the hydrological of the systems. So for seawater rising, we will lose the agricultural land. And causing farmers or agricultural producers to lose jobs. Then sea level rising cause salinity intrusion very deep inland and causing causing salinity intrusion to the groundwater and causing many difficulties and challenges in irrigation. In Hà Tĩnh city, is surrounded by 3 rivers and also the East Sea. So with sea level rising, the sea level rising will cause flooding. Now, when in heavy rainfall, the city is inundated. Like in Hà Tĩnh City has plans for urban renewal with a focus on water drainage for the inner city. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much. So we are running, pitifully out of time. Thank you, everybody. We had very insightful conversation. It has been very interesting to learn from your experience in the urban development and innovation transition projects. So it's our strong sensation that urban practitioners and governors around the world are facing the similar challenges. It's very urgent to raise the new urban agenda issues globally. The EU, Asian, and Australian urban practitioners need to cooperate to tackle the challenges together. So sincerely, we hope this IURC program will facilitate collaborative actions across the regions and inspire further engagement. So we invite all the speakers to turn on your video. It's time, pitifully, to close this session. So we really enjoy the conversation. So thanks to all the speakers and audience in different time zones in the world to participate this discussion. Thank you so much for your engagement. So we will move to the main room